headphones and earbuds on. Every vote is by roll call. We ask you to keep your mics muted unless you're voting or you are participating in the discussion. And also a reminder that if you are an alternate and we've got quorum, you can participate in the discussion, but you cannot make a motion and you cannot vote. Based on who all responded that they would be participating, that means that Eric Ottenbacher, you will be voting. You can make a motion. Eric Heikus, who I haven't seen that he's joined the meeting yet, he can participate in the discussion, but unless someone abstains or leaves the meeting, he will not be able to vote. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'll turn this over to you.
All right, thanks, Vicki. So welcome to the April 23rd, 2020 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. This meeting is being held by video, so we ask that everybody be patient and remember to speak clearly. If there are any persons physically present in the audience that wish to speak to an item on the Planning Commission agenda, there are speaker request forms on the table next to the door. Please fill out the request with the agenda number of the item you wish to speak to and hand it to the staff seated on the left of the dais. If you're online and wish to speak to an item, please use the chat icon to let the chair know you would like to speak, and you will be called on when it is your turn to speak. This time we would also like to ask any members of the audience, please mute your mics and turn your cell phone or other electronic device to silent. If you're called on to speak, activate your mic, then mute when you are done. If you need to take a call, please step away so the meeting is not disrupted. If we could have a roll call then for quorum, let's start with that.
Arguello?
Here.
Braun?
Sorry, Braun is here.
Bowman?
Here.
Caesar?
Here.
Gallagher?
Here.
Heikus? Hogestraat?
I'm here.
Kwasny?
Here.
Ottenbacher?
Here.
Vidal?
Here.
We have quorum.
Excellent. Thank you. The public hearing on item number 1 on the Zoning Board of Adjustment is hereby opened.
Good morning. This is Fletcher Laycock, current planner. Item number 1 is 20 VA001, a variance request to reduce the minimum required lot size for a duplex from 8,000 square feet to 5,250 square feet for an existing legal non-conforming duplex. Just so you're aware, there is a rezoning associated with this variance from Park Forest District to Low Density Residential District 2. So the aerial we have before us shows a small lot located on 3rd and Columbus with an existing duplex on it. Currently the property is zoned Park Forest District. As you can see, the property to the east and the north is zoned Low Density Residential District 2. And so the associated rezoning request is to Low Density Residential District 2, which allows a duplex as a permitted use. It doesn't really make sense that this was zoned Park Forest District in the first place because the minimum lot size in Park Forest District is 3 acres, and this is way less than that. Future land use is forest conservation as part of a future land use ordinance amendment or comprehensive plan amendment. It'll be updated to urban neighborhood, which the surrounding properties to the north are also identified as. This will give you context of where it is located in the city and where arterial streets and collectors are located. This is an existing duplex which was built way back before there were lot size requirements for duplexes, and they're not proposing to expand the use. It's trying to bring the existing use, which was legal when it was built, into compliance with the current zoning ordinance. Site plan of the property shows the location of the duplex, and there is a shed also located on the property. Sign for the rezoning is posted. Could we have whoever just came in mute, please? So, existing use on the property, no expansion proposed. It's an existing duplex. We have hill in the background. Street doesn't continue. We're in an established neighborhood in the downtown area. This shows adjacent development along to the west of the property, directly to the west. This is looking north on 3rd Street, adjacent property, and then some county buildings. So, as I said, this is to reduce the minimum required lot size from 8,000 square feet to 5,250 square feet for an existing legal nonconforming duplex. The variance request does not appear to be injurious to the neighborhood, detrimental to the public welfare, or in conflict with the city's comprehensive plan. Staff's recommendation is that the variance be approved in conjunction with the associated rezoning request. And with that, Vicki, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Thank you, Fletcher. It is important to note that this duplex has been on this property for a little over 100 years. So certainly we've got evidence that it's not injurious to the neighborhood. It was also constructed so that the access to each unit is external. There's nothing internal to it, confirming that this is legal nonconforming. As Fletcher identified, it is adjacent to 3rd and Columbus Street. There is excessive right-of-way currently secured for these two streets. In reviewing this variance, we looked at whether or not it would be reasonable use to just bring back a single-family home if the duplex were ever removed. But noting that the applicant could request to vacate right-of-way that would then make this lot in excess of the required 8,000 square feet, we concurred that it would be better to maintain the right-of-way to secure the public interest of that street for now, and to support the variance to allow a use that's been existing on the site for over 100 years. So we would be supporting this based on the fact that it is not injurious to the neighborhood and it maintains the public interest of the adjacent right-of-way. Let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Fletcher. Thank you, Vicki. Appreciate the information on this. Does anyone have any questions for staff on this item?
I'll move approval with the, this is Karen. I move that we,
Thank you.
that we approve the application and in conjunction with the rezone that's going to be coming forward.
This is Rachel. I'll second the motion.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Vicki?
Karen, thank you for remembering to approve it in conjunction with the rezone, and you have to cite reasons, motion maker. Would you concur that it is not injurious to the neighborhood and serves the public interest?
Yes, I appreciate that, Vicki, and I will add that to the motion.
to approve item number 1 based on the criteria that is various to the neighborhood. And Rachel seconded that motion. Are there any comments on the motion? Doesn't sound like there are, so we will proceed to a roll call vote.
Arguello,
Aye.
Braun,
Aye.
Bowman,
Aye.
Caesar,
Aye.
Gallagher,
Aye.
Hoogastrott,
Aye.
Quasny,
Aye.
Ottenbacher,
Aye.
Vidal.
Aye.
Vote is unanimous. Motion passes.
All right. With no other items on the Zoning Board of Adjustment agenda for today, I'd look to adjourn this meeting to move on to Planning Commission. Is there a motion to adjourn?
This is Mike Quasi.
This is Vince. Motion to adjourn.
All right, I heard Mike Quasny first, so I'll give Mike Quasny the motion to adjourn and Vince the second for that motion. Any discussion on the motion? Well, we have to do a roll call for adjournment.
Arguello,
Aye.
Braun,
Aye.
Bowman,
Aye.
Caesar,
Aye.
Gallagher,
Aye.
Hoogastrott,
Aye.
Quasny,
Aye.
Ottenbacher,
Aye.
and Vidal.
Aye.
Unanimous vote.
All right, we are adjourned from Zoning Board of Adjustment. We will now commence the Rapid City Planning Commission meeting for April 23rd, 2020. Same housekeeping items. Please remember that this is being held on video, so be patient and speak clearly. If anybody wishes to speak to an item and is physically present in the audience, there are speaker request forms on the table next to the door. Please fill out the request with the agenda number of the item you wish to speak to and hand it to the staff seated on the left of the dais. If you're online and wish to speak to an item, please use the chat icon to let the chair know you would like to speak, and you will be called on when it is your turn to speak. Please continue to remember to mute your mics and leave your cell phone or other electronic device on silent. When you are called on to speak, activate your mic and then mute when done. If you need to take a call, please step away so the meeting is not disrupted. Items 1 through 18 have been placed on the consent calendar and may be approved as a group. Action will be taken on all consent items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration at this time. The findings of this planning commission are recommendations to the City Council. The City Council will make the final decision with the exception of the following items. Item 13, 20PD012, and item 14, 20PD013. The Rapid City Planning Commission's actions on these items are final unless any party appeals that decision to the Rapid City Council. All appeals must be submitted in writing to the Department of Community Development by close of business on the 7th full calendar day following action by the Planning Commission. Are there any items 1 through 18 that staff would like removed from the consent calendar?
Item number 10, please.
Okay. Are there any items 1 through 18 that any planning commissioner would like removed?
Is there any way I could ask some questions of staff before I remove anything from the consent calendar? I'm not sure if that's procedural, like, correct?
Vicky, what's your thoughts?
If there's going to be a discussion on an item, you should remove it from the consent agenda.
Okay, I'd like to remove items 2 through 12, and I think 10 was already removed.
Mr.
Okay.
Chair?
Yeah,
Mr.
Vicky.
Chair? Those are items that have been brought forward by staff in an effort to ensure that properties that currently have single-family homes or duplexes or townhomes are not impacted when we bring forward an ordinance amendment that removes those uses from office commercial. So there's been a lot of conversation with property owners. We've sent out letters to the neighborhood, and we're bringing these forwards with concurrence that this will then allow us to remove that type of residential from the office commercial zoning. Let's see if that answers Rachel's questions.
Rachel?
That partially answers my question. I guess my question really was, is there complete consent among every property owner that this is what they want for the stock? Because I did notice, I understand the intent of it, and I appreciate the intent of it, that it is, just to keep it within compliance with the ordinance that we would also be passing, ordinance amendment. But my concern is that, every property owner was not only notified, but is actually in agreement with the rezone of their property.
Mr. Chair?
I don't know. Okay.
Vicky?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Fletcher did reach out to everyone. We actually had an open house here in council chambers. He visited with them, and then he also sent out numerous letters to ensure that they were aware of the meeting date.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
That does answer my question. I take back my ask to remove them from the consent
Okay.
agenda.
All right, any other items that the Planning Commission would like to remove for separate consideration? And then are there any items that any audience member or anyone listening that would like to remove for separate consideration? The chair would then entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar items 1 through 18 in accordance with staff's recommendation, with the exception of item number 10.
I'll make that motion. This is Karen.
Okay?
This is Mike Gallagher. I'll second.
All right, Karen made the motion to approve the consent calendar with the exception of item number 10 in accordance with staff recommendations, and Mike Gallagher seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? We will proceed to a roll call vote then.
Arguello,
Aye.
Braun,
Aye.
Bowman, Bowman,
Aye.
Caesar,
Aye.
Gallagher,
Aye.
Hogestraat,
Aye.
Quasny,
Aye.
Ottbacher,
Aye.
and Vidal.
Aye.
Vote is unanimous.
All right, thank you, Andrea. We'll move then to item number 19, 20PD015.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Vicki?
we need to address item number 10.
Oh my God, yeah. Thank you. Item number 10, I mean.
This is one of the rezones that was in that group that we just discussed. This particular one, we are requesting that it be, or it has been withdrawn, so we are requesting that you acknowledge the withdrawal. As it turns out, there is a commercial use in that residential structure, so we'll leave that one zoned office commercial. We would need a motion to acknowledge the withdrawal.
All right.
This is Rachel.
So moved. This is Eric. Sorry.
All right, I got Eric Ottenbacher making the motion to acknowledge the withdrawal of item number 10, and Rachel seconding that motion. Let's do a roll call vote on that.
Arguello,
Aye.
Braun,
Aye?
Holman,
Aye.
Caesar,
Aye.
Gallagher,
Aye.
Hogestradt,
Aye.
Quasny,
Aye.
Ottenbacher,
Aye.
Vidal.
Aye.
I have a unanimous vote.
All right, now we get to go to item number 19 that I was so excited to get to.
This is Fletcher. Item number 19 is 20 PD015, an initial and final plan development overlay to allow an apartment complex. Properties located at 3411 Jaffa Garden Way as part of the Orchard Meadows development. On the screen, identifies that the property is currently void of any structural development. We do have an office building located on the right-hand side of the page to the east, and then there is some development happening, I believe a call center on the property to the north. Property is currently zoned office commercial district. The planned development overlay is because the proposed apartment complex has multiple primary structures. We've seen other development in the area, residential development being proposed, even on today's agenda. There's a townhome development on that medium density residential to the south. And in the past, we've seen an initial plan development for an apartment complex to the west on the left-hand side of the page. So we see that there's a lot of mixed development happening in this area in Orchard Meadows. An apartment complex is still identified as a permitted use in the office commercial district. Future land use is half mixed use commercial, half employment center. The future land use at a future time, once development is established in this area, we'll be amending the map to identify what's actually going on in this area, but we're not touching it for right now just because development is changing and ongoing, and we don't know exactly what continues to happen. Here we have showing, there you can see Elkvale Road to the north and west, identified as an arterial street, and the whole development is accessed off of Elderberry Boulevard, which comes off of East Highway 44 to that north and east. So the applicant is proposing a 90-unit apartment complex with 6 residential structures and then 5 or 6 garages being proposed. There is one exception request, which is to allow a height of 39 feet in lieu of the maximum allowed height of 35 feet. They are 3-story structures. It's an architectural detail that they're asking for, similar to other exceptions we've seen in this area. If we go back to the zoning map, You can see that there's commercial development to the east and to the north, so the additional height isn't going to have an impact on those uses. In addition, on that south side of the property, we have a drainage as well as along the west side of the property. There's a large drainage area set aside for this whole Orchard Meadows development, and that provides a buffer to residential development to the south and to the west. In addition, this property sits lower than Elkvale Road, has been noted in the past, and so it shouldn't have an impact as from being visible from Elkvale Road. So staff is recommending to approve that exception to allow a height of 39 feet in lieu of 35 feet for 3-story apartment buildings. Everything else is in compliance with the land area regulations of the Office Commercial District. Here we have those elevations showing that it's still a 3-story structure. It's just that height, probably some ceiling heights for the apartments. That raises the height, just the minimum amount. Layout, floor plan. Here we have looking from Jaffa Garden Way south into the property. This is looking to the west along Jaffa Garden Way, which will be access to additional potential residential development further along Jaffa Garden Way, and Elkvale Road in the distance. The call center, which is being developed, commercial development on the north side of Jaffa Garden Way. And looking across the parking lot that's being put in, and we can see some of the commercial development that's along Elderberry and East Highway 44. Looking east along Jaffa Garden Way towards the intersection with Elderberry, and some more commercial development. These are office buildings, commercial buildings that have been built. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the initial and final plan development overlay with the stipulations noted in the staff report. Are there any questions for staff at this time?
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Fletcher.
This is Mike Quadney. I have a question.
Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I remember there being a park in this original development. Where is that park in relationship to this? And this doesn't affect that park in any way?
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, Vicki.
So across on the other side of Elkvale Road in Johnson Ranch, Mike, you are correct that they did dedicate a park and the city is going to own that park. In this particular development, though, as you may recall, there is some floodplain in the southern area of Orchard Meadows, and they are securing that as common space with pedestrian walkways, but there isn't actually a public park dedication in Orchard Meadows.
Okay. I couldn't remember exactly where it was. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. I'll have a motion then.
Eric, we didn't hear any of that.
Sorry, I would look for a motion then. I don't see any other staff or questions from staff or questions on this item.
This is Vince. Motion to approve.
This is Karen. I'll second that motion to approve with the stipulation.
Thank you. So Vince made a motion to approve item number 19 per the staff recommendations, and Karen seconded that motion. Are there any comments, questions on the motion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a roll call vote on item 19.
Braun,
Aye.
Arwelo,
Aye.
Bowman,
Aye.
Caesar,
Aye.
Gallagher,
Aye.
Hoogastrad,
Aye.
Bosny,
Aye.
Ottenbacher, Ottenbacher, Vidal.
Aye.
I have a unanimous vote.
Thank you, Andrea. That takes us to the end of the regular agenda. Are there discussion items or staff items today?
Yes, Mr. Chair, just one. I learned that to adjourn a meeting, we don't actually have to do roll call. You as the chair would just indicate that we are going to adjourn a meeting unless anyone opposes. If you don't hear an opposition, you can just deem the meeting adjourned.
Okay, good to know. That just means that you all have to make sure that I don't skip over anything and decide to adjourn. All right, any other items from the Planning Commission? Doesn't seem like we have any today, so now that I know I can adjourn it, I'm going to try to. So I'm going to deem this meeting adjourned unless anybody else has any items to bring up. And I take the silence that we've covered everything. Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate it. We'll see you on the next round. The April 23rd Planning Commission meeting is adjourned.
Okay, goodbye.
Thanks, Eric.